Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Discard for Magic, a Summoner Wars podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
I'm your other host, James or Jexic, and today we've got on Clarissimus.
Hello.
So, Clarissimus, why don't you start out before we jump into your tournaments and everything? Why don't you just start out and give us a little backstory on how you found Summoner Wars?
Yeah, sure thing. I was friends with James, and I was acquainted with Colby through the Heroescape community. One year when I went to Gen Con, Colby was showing off his new game, Summoner Wars. I think at that time there were six factions. He had recently released the fifth and sixth ones. I played in a little impromptu tournament. Thought the game was pretty fun, and I bought it. That's where I got started, so I wasn't completely from the beginning, but it's been for quite a while.
Nice.
Do you remember which of those first 6 decks was your favorite?
Phoenix Elves, by far. Phoenix Elves were my favorite. The not rolling dice thing really appealed to me. There was a time in first edition where I actually had a great big spreadsheet that had my win rate with all the faction. I had every Summoner Wars game I had ever played was in this spreadsheet. My wins and losses with factions and against factions, and I was very proud of my Phoenix Elves win rate. I don't think I'm keeping track anymore. I've played far too many games to keep track now.
Yeah, I've played a lot more second edition than first as well.
Well, the app makes it easy.
Unless you get past 1,000 games and then it forgets.
Yeah, I think at some point Joe said he was thinking about adding a way to make it show more than 1,000. I'm sure I'm well past 1,000 by now, but it's a lot easier. In the old days, we used to play first edition on Vassal, which was not completely sanctioned. There also was an app for first edition, but the less said about that, the better.
There's a couple people still playing on it.
Yeah.
I still use Playdex Agricola app. It is also a very much kind of legacy grandfather thing, but that's another long story.
When first edition came around, you said you liked it all right. How do you think it compared to Heroescape at that time in your mind?
Well, at that time, in terms of fun and enjoyment, I would say it was inferior to Heroescape, but I thought it had a lot of potential. And the one big thing it had going for is that setup was very easy. Do your best to flatten out that paper mat. You got a deck of cards, your opponent has a deck of cards, and you just go. Yeah. And I anticipated that there would be more factions added, which there were. Very, very, very many more factions. I don't know if I would say I think it was a better game than Heroescape. It's a little bit apples and oranges. Heroescape was kind of a more deluxe experience, but sometimes it's nice to have something that's quick and easy and very accessible.
So how do you think second edition compares to the first? It sounds like you like it a lot.
Oh, no question. I could give a 3-hour interview explaining all the ways in which second edition is better than first. It's probably not useful because I don't think there's a lot of players who still play first edition, but maybe there's some. I do recall seeing on Board Game Geek and some other places that people who loved first edition were very upset at the existence of second edition. I don't know if those people are still playing first edition. If so, I'd be happy to try to convert them. But I think they've just probably moved on to other games anyways. But second edition is so much better than first edition in so many ways. The deck building is better. The balance is better. The faction themes are better. The rule sets, the events... the ratios of attack to health are better. It's just a better game overall. I wouldn't say second edition is the perfect game, but it's great. It's way better than I expected. I actually didn't start second edition for a while. I didn't think it would be that great. I thought, first edition, I kind of got tired of it after a while. Second edition, I don't know. I probably won't get into it. I played it a little bit, and then I saw, wow, for $3 a month, I get access to all the decks, and I don't have to actually buy the physical game. And that really got me going. I mean, for $3 to just try something out, it's a pretty good deal. Paying $3 a month ever since, totally worth it.
It seems like a good deal. I'm still getting the physical things just for the hope that I might start a local scene at some point, but I can definitely see the appeal of that though.
Well, yeah, I haven't played the physical game very much. It definitely has its own appeal, but the accessibility is just being able to kind of play on my own time, especially the async aspect of it. I have a job, I have a house, I have a wife, I have kids. I don't always have time to sit down and spread out the game on the table, but I might have time to check my phone for 5 minutes, take my turn in a couple of games, and then get back to whatever I was doing, and that makes it a lot easier to play.
With all that said, did you hear about the HeroScape reboot? Do you think you're interested in that, or do you think
last Gen Con I had a chance to check it out? I think it looks great. The cost is maybe prohibitive, although the first printing of HeroScape was absolutely a loss leader. Especially the value you got from the Rise of the Valkyrie Master set. Just
definitely
astonishing that they priced it as low as they did. The new stuff looks good. They've got a website, they've got a league, they've got rules, and they've also got some events, some of which the old stuff is tournament legal, and then some events in which they only use the new ones, kind of different. I guess you could call it like Legacy and Standard, although I don't think those are the names they used for it. So it looks really great, but I don't think I'm really going to get into it at this point. Hope it does well. I've moved on to a different, different phase of my life, and I don't really have the time to dedicate to that sort of thing.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't really have the space for it, and the setup time and all that just kind of makes it a tough sell for me, even though I used to obviously write dozens of articles about it,
Oh yeah, I remember reading those.
All the order marker stuff.
The power rankings, the order marker articles. Those were good times, the old forums. I kind of miss the old forums. Discord is nice, but it does feel like it's just a bunch of big concurrent chat rooms. Feels a little less permanent than the forums.
Yeah, it's harder to write like an article, I think, in the forum.
For sure.
Discord,
For sure. But you could write something on Board Game Geek and link to it in the Discord.
Then
if you want to go that route. Yeah, pin it. Yeah, if you've got mod powers, that's even better.
Do you guys think Colby will have any interest in getting back into HeroScape?
That's hard to say. I don't think I've talked to Colby in several years.
I would guess probably not. Because I don't even know how much he's able to play Summoner Wars, with all the designing and company running he's doing.
I'm very glad that he got his company back, though. I understand why you might want to, sell it at some point, but this is a passion project for him. I don't think he's in it to make a quick buck and then get out. He's in it for the love of the games. So I was kind of surprised he was actually able to get back as much of his IP as he did.
They lost their big ones at the time.
Yeah,
Dead Winter and Mice and Mystics, and got back the ones that died.
The ones that we love.
Yeah, the good ones.
Still waiting for a dungeon run, though.
He might be coming. He made it sound like Dungeon Run 2's happening. Who knows?
Hey.
Maybe that's what Donald and Nikki were teasing on the one episode.
Oh, maybe.
That we did not pick up on at all. They were like, "Oh, we gave too much away," and James and I were like, "I don't know what they were talking about." But they said the next game. I don't even remember the clues they gave, but I think it might be Dungeon Run. I think that's my guess.
Yeah, could be.
It would be neat to see some of the second edition characters in a different game. I realized that in the first Dungeon Run, I think it was none of the same characters, but kind of that world of Itharia.
Or different characters being the summoners.
See some other game genres. You could pretty easily make a dudes on the map game. And then you could make some kind of a set collection game and maybe a racing game.
We thought an RPG would be good.
Yeah, just put all the summoners in go-karts and let them race. And then of course, there would be an MMO. And
I did create a board game based off the world, but it didn't take.
Yeah, maybe an RPG.
RPG would be awesome. I think just for the expanded, even if nothing else, just give me the races in D&D format. I want to play as a Storm Goblin. Come on, that'd be insane.
I really do like the faction themes that have come up here in terms of the gameplay, as well as the just sort of the lore and the look and feel. they're really different. I guess I'm not really a big, fantasy maven, but there's so many cliches in fantasy, and the first Summoner War factions, they kind of follow along with those. You've got the undead army and the righteous vanguards, the fire elves and the big orcs. I don't know if tundra orcs is quite a cliche, but some of the things that have come out have been really interesting. Savannah elves and the storm goblins, especially.
The Vargrath are a unique.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of that stuff. Some of the factions, they're kind of just like one race or one tribe, and then others like the Eternal Council or the Chosen Grove, they're kind of a collection of different groups that have come together pursuing a common goal. Yeah, it's nice to see that variety.
And they've even make like the human factions interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Take stuff like the cloaks or the wayfarers, and I don't know, they're all neat.
Yeah, and even like the collective factions of like the Eternal Council and the Chosen Grove that are like a collective of all the different peoples.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some really creative people designing at Plaid Hat, especially compared to, first edition had some interesting things, but second edition, it's like every time a new faction preview is posted, I'm like, wow, that's like a whole new thing that I didn't even think could have been possible, and here it is.
The next two look really cool too. The Spectral Conclave and the Isle Vekid. Yeah.
Yeah. The Vekids, which were sort of in first edition, but not really. Like there was 3 Vekids in first edition?
Some mercenaries, right? First edition, there seemed to be a soft rule that every unit could have only one ability. Now there's more room for more abilities, and also just the boost system, because boost can just do whatever the card needs a boost to do. And that's a neat way to keep track of stuff that's happening to a card. It really opens the design space up.
And I also like that events can happen in any phase, and you kind of just go
by for sure. For sure.
And it makes it easier to remember, too, because in the old one, it'd be like, in this event, we'll do something in the attack phase and the movement phase and this phase.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that, like, oh yeah, this is affecting this phase now.
You just stick the card out face up on the board. I usually could remember that.
But now they have the rule for active events and other stuff like that kind of just cleans it all up.
Yeah, I still think sometimes it's tough for new players to register that you don't play all your events in the same time. Like there are different phases and stuff. So sometimes when I'm teaching people in person, they're like, "Oh, this event was supposed to be played in this phase." And I'm like, "Yeah, all your events are going to have a different phase." And
well, it's printed on the card.
It is. It's just sometimes a tough thing for them to grasp.
Yeah.
So jumping into your recent ongoing tournament, Faction Masters.
Just finished recording the commentary for another game just before this podcast interview began.
Nice. What game was that?
Fallen Kingdom against the Vanguards. I got to record that one with Orange Lazarus.
Classic
matchup. Classic matchup. Absolutely. Good versus evil.
And Orange Lazarus.
Oel was playing Fallen Kingdom, I'm assuming?
Orange Lazarus on Fallen Kingdom and Subiosmolo on the Vanguards.
Nice.
Yeah, I love getting to just kind of talk to these top level players. I'll see them do some tactical trick that I hadn't thought of, and maybe kind of understand their reasoning. There was a point when Orange Lazarus attacked his own skeletal archer with an undead carrier. It's like, oh, what? I thought the archer is more valuable. Why would you do that? He said, well, if I lose this carrier, I'm going to have this other carrier as a backup. And so it's great to hear from the expert players why they're doing what they do. I struggle through on the ladder. I do my best. Sometimes if I'm matched up with somebody from the top, I get to the end of the game and I'm way behind, or maybe even lose, unexpectedly in the middle of the game. And it's, whoa, what happened? How did this happen? Yeah, it's nice to get some feedback on that. I mean, I'm in the Summoner Wars League, have been for quite a long time. Usually what happens is I kind of muddle through Division 3, and then if I have a good month in Division 3, I go up to Division 2, which I'll usually win 1 or 2 games in Division 2 and immediately go back down to Division 3. Just pretty much where I belong.
James got to Division 1.
I noticed that. James having a little trouble in Division 1.
I did. I went 0-10 in Division
1.
Oh,
man, I did not see that.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of backed my way into Division 1 as well, because like I was 7-3 in Division 2, and Davude had gone 10-0, but he's like, I'm going to take a break, so I
Oh
just got
wow.
I got ushered in.
Huh.
They're like, oh, well, you're the representative from this group. Good luck. And then like right away, I'm up against like OL and Profit and Massimo, and yeah, they all beat me.
Yeah, it's some tough games.
It's looking like Profit might win again if he wins any more games. Last I checked.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. Profit's 6-1. He just got to win one more, and he's basically secure unless Massimo wins out. Yeah, Profit is he's one of the best for a reason. Hard to beat.
The thing that surprised me in my games against Profit is that if you put your summoner out there, he will attack it. He doesn't strictly play Econ all the time. He'll assassinate you if you give him the opportunity. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that's a great dynamic in Summoner Wars. It's the classic tempo versus a value, I guess, in card games. In chess, we call material versus position. When to go for which one, when to switch, or do you just go hard for one from the beginning? Try to stay flexible, but often I'll find in the middle of the game I don't have a choice. It's like, well, I'm committed to go for value now. Summoner is down to 2 life, and the game's only about half over, so guess I'm going to play value.
I think playing Assassination with like Chosen Grove, that should be the achievement. If you assassinate a summoner with a Chosen Grove,
like early on.
Yeah, early on, not late game, but like Chosen Grove
like...
can't move.
Well, you can try to do something with the archers, maybe.
Maybe if they give you the opportunity.
Yeah.
Or maybe you get 2 uproots and you get super aggressive. You park the tree in their face.
Yeah, the uproots are tricky because it's like, do I risk putting my 5 health common right next to it? Do I just tease them with it? Try to make them clog their hand with it?
Always tease.
Put it diagonally adjacent and just make them think. Hold on to it. Don't use it yet.
I had that problem in my Chosen Grove game against the Filth in the league. I've just been teased with the uproot. I kept it too long, so I ended up using it for not the 5 damage.
Sometimes you just need to reposition the big tree.
As the tentacle mutant, he just keeps poking you on the side, and you're like, come just a little closer, We got real off topic. Why don't you explain how Faction Masters works?
Sure. I had the idea towards the end of season 4. Really wish I had the idea sooner. I think if I could invent a time machine, the first thing I would do is go back in time and tell myself, hey, here's this idea, season 1, get on it. And then hopefully that wouldn't destroy reality too much. If I just gave myself the idea, maybe whisper it to myself in my sleep, so I would just have it in a dream and then wake up thinking that I would do it. But at the end of season 4, try to contact the number 1 player for every faction. Some of them are not on Discord. Some of them just didn't want to do it. I've had somebody say like, "Oh, I don't want to do the 3-day games. I mostly do 45-minute games." Whatever reason. Or some people that just they were active early in the season and then they just kind of fall off later in the season. But I try to get the top players for every faction, and the idea behind it was I feel like there should be more commentated tournaments on YouTube for Summoner War players to watch, because I would sometimes try to find that kind of stuff. I couldn't find it. So, well, just gonna be the change that I want to see and make some of it. There are plenty of commentated games on YouTube, but they're usually just kind of casual. Oh, I just queued up against some randos, and that's okay. But just think it'd be fun to get insight to the players. Most games we get 1 player doing commentary with me, occasionally 2. Sometimes nobody can make it. I've done a couple by myself. I've done some with just random people. Hey, who's on Discord? You want to do a commentary video with me? And we just talk it through together.
So do you do a video for every game that occurs?
I do a video for every game. That's right. There was 1 game last season that I didn't do one because somebody played like a couple turns and then timed out.
Oh.
And I'm not going to do a video for that. So I did. The games that actually finish, I do a video for everyone.
Nice.
One of the things I was wondering is like, what are some of the challenges you've encountered in running this that you might not have expected?
Total novice when it comes to video production, video recording. And I think you can tell from the videos, they're not very professionally edited, although I'm hoping to get better maybe if I can find the time to teach myself some cool effects or add an intro or something. But right now it's all pretty bare bones. Another challenge, getting people to do it. I find that if I just message them personally on Discord and just give them a reminder every few days, like, hey, did you start your game yet? Hey, have you finished the game yet? How's that coming along? I think people maybe respond to that personal nudge a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a bit more work on the admin side, but it's really worth it to keep it moving. A year or so ago, I was in a foosball tournament with some of my coworkers. We have a foosball table at work, and lots of people signed up. And then the tournament organizer gave us a schedule and just said, all right, it's up to you guys to just schedule your games and play them. And a lot of people just didn't.
Yeah.
And so he said, all right, now you can play them out of order. Just play them. And then like a few weeks later, people still weren't playing their games. Like, well, let's just start the tournament now. And then some people kind of still didn't play their games. So sometimes you just have to get personal and call people by name, send them a friendly nudge. But I've always tried to be real flexible with people's schedules. We have the whole season to finish this tournament. Whenever it gets played, it gets played. We had some people that say, hey, I'm going to go on vacation for 2 weeks. Say, hey, no problem. Have a good vacation. You can play when you get back.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to be relaxed about it. I had one player this season who was a bit reluctant to do it, said, oh, I don't really like doing the commentary. I don't think I'll have time for that. I said, don't worry about the commentary. I will not ask you to do commentary. Just play the games if that's enough for you. And that player was able to join. So just try to be flexible with people. I haven't done this yet this season, but I had some where I had some players that were in the European time zone. So I was waking up at 5 a.m. to record. Part of it is just making it easy for people to participate.
Yeah, we've definitely recorded at some weird times for the podcast for different time zones.
Like asking other people to record late at night, some of the European ones.
Yeah.
Sometimes not even like some of them like very graciously almost told us that like they would rather that they record late in their time versus us in our time. Like we had Devlin Fish on, he was adamant that he was like, no, it's fine. Like I'll stay up late and you guys just work it out in your schedule. It's like, all right.
Well, some people are night owls. So
True.
The night owl is a bird player. Who would have thought?
That's true. The night owl is an avian player. But there's no owls yet. Until the dark avians.
Owls, like an owl and raven faction? That would be pretty cool. Get on a Plaid Hat.
Be sick.
It did bother me a little bit that Cyrook is like a blue jay somehow. Remember when Cyrook was actually a rook?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I used to use Cyrook in Fallen Kingdom in first edition because the Fallen Kingdom champions were just mostly bad. So I'll just summon Cyrook over and over and over and over.
I liked Malevolence early on, but then they made better.
Oh, yeah. I used Malevolence with the Vanguard.
I was more of a Dougal man myself.
Almost all of the first edition factions have come back.
So is this the third rendition of Faction Masters?
This is the second one.
Second.
This is season 5. Well, season 6 is the ranked season ongoing. Season 5 is the tournament that's underway. Last season was the first time I did it, was season 4.
For those who don't know like all the aspects, there's a couple interesting rules that you do. I don't know if you're still doing this time around, but I remember the first time around you had, wasn't it like if you had two factions that you were the best with, you like molded factions or like had an alliance or something?
Oh yeah. Well, this is kind of all theoretical, but I noticed that according to my rules, it would be possible to represent more than one faction. In fact, in season 4, DQI qualified for about 5 or 6 factions. In the end, he just said, I just want to play Phoenix Elves. I don't want to do any others. So I said, oh, that's fine. So I think there were only Game Bear qualified for 2 factions and Shampoo qualified for 2 factions. And they ended up being on opposite sides of the bracket. This season, we've got a few more doubling up. But again, nobody's close to each other in the bracket. But in theory, what would happen if, according to the rules, if you have 2 factions that would sort of play each other, is those factions join forces. And it's kind of like you have 2 lives. on that slot. So if someone has to play you in the next round, they got to beat you twice, once with one faction and once with the other. But if they beat you with one faction, that faction is knocked out, and now you're only representing one faction going forward. Because I thought, you should be rewarded if you are actually so good at 2 factions. You should be rewarded for that with 2 slots. I mean, if you want to be. So we haven't had those rules come up. I'm looking at the bracket now. We've had some players who had 2 factions have already had one faction get eliminated.
Yep, I know one of those players.
Some others that still have 2 in, but the opposite sides of the bracket. I don't think they're going to meet, but we'll see.
OL had 2, right? Fallen Kingdom and Fungal Dwarves?
Yeah, Fallen Kingdom and Fungal Dwarves. Both of those matches are finished. I recorded the Fallen Kingdom one with him tonight, so I know who won. I do not know who won between his second round match against the Cloaks.
Ooh, he got Cloaks with Fungal Dwarves? That's a rough one.
Oh no, it's very funny because Red Hawk 13, a very similar reaction to, oh my gosh, I have to go up against Orange Lazarus's Fungal Dwarves. I think I'm going to record that with him tomorrow night, so probably by the time that your podcast airs, that will probably be available on YouTube.
It'll probably be a few weeks before this one comes out. We'll definitely direct people the right way to find your YouTube channel and everything to watch all the faction mastering.
And it's on SW Zone also now?
Yeah, Massimo, who runs that one, right?
Mm-hmm. Massimo.
Added it lately. Massimo, just the interface looks great. Looks way better than my jerry-rigged Google Doc. Yeah, if you want to check it out there, I think it's under
Hall of Fame, I think.
Under Hall of Fame, and then
Yeah.
there's like a thing that says I just clicked on it, Faction Masters, and he's got a season 5 thing already. And like little YouTube buttons to just watch it on YouTube. It's amazing.
And if you want to go directly to your YouTube channel, what's the YouTube channel?
I called the YouTube channel Try Hard Gaming, but someone else has a channel with that name. I don't know if I have a URL shortener to go with that.
We can always put the link in our description.
That might be for the best. I can give you the link to the channel, but it's not like an easy to say thing. It's just a bunch of random letters and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we can put it in the show notes. And by we, I mean Aaron.
Maybe I should look into getting a vanity URL or a shortener or something, make that easier to find.
I think YouTube will give you one at a certain amount of subscribers.
Oh, that would be nice. How many subscribers do I have? Let me see here.
I think they changed it to 100. I used to have a YouTube channel.
I'm not there yet.
Well, still do, but I don't. I only use it for this podcast now.
I'm at 27 subscribers. It's fun to see how I've actually gotten still getting some new subscribers even in between season 4 and season 5. There was a dearth of content for months, but still got new subscribers once in a while. So
nice.
People are finding it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like the content for Summoner Wars has always been like a sort of a trickle, and it's never been consistent. I guess our podcast is now consistent, but before the podcast, you had Donkey did a YouTube channel for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and Water D did some YouTube videos for a little bit, and Art Bruise did some YouTube videos for a little bit, but nobody would really stuck with it and then Ben came around, and Ben was really the most consistent. But now Ben's taking a break. There's always a need, I feel like, in the Summoner Wars community for some content.
Actually, here's something that I can say easily on a podcast. If you go to www.youtube.com/@Clarissimus, with the @ symbol,
okay,
that will take you right. And if you can spell Clarissimus, then good for you. You paid attention in Latin class.
It took me until tonight to realize what your other handle means. It's just Joseph, but Latinized, right?
Yes, it is.
I was like, what are these letters?
It is
Make
like
no sense.
older spelling of Josephus, or Josephus as it would say. It can be tricky because
It could look like a little L.
In the fonts without serifs, the capital I looks like a lowercase L.
And looks like you're losing.
I had a very funny incident many years ago. I was in an open league for Dota All Stars, the Warcraft 3 version of it. and somebody was trying to kick me from the lobby,
And they
but he
couldn't.
kept typing my name with the L instead of the I. So he would type the command to kick me, and the bot would say, "No player found named, Luzavis," or whatever how he was typing it.
Yeah.
And he was just typing, "What is going on?" He'd type the bot command to list the players in the channel, and then he'd type my name to kick me, and it wouldn't work. He just couldn't figure out how to do it. I thought, wow, it's like a cheat code. This is like a hack.
I think El Canella's had similar issues where people think that he's got an I at the start of his name too.
Yeah.
Or who is it? Iantic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I should go all in on that idea. Just change my username to like a random smattering of lowercase L's and capital I's, just like in a random sequence. Make myself really hard to find.
Yeah. I'll just keep looking for Clarissimus.
That's good. That's good. There are like I've encountered one or two other people on the web that also use Clarissimus, who are not me. Although some of them are me, but some of them are not. So that's why I had been switching to Josephus for a while, just because it was a bit more unique. But then all the people who knew me as Clarissimus from Heroescapers and stuff, they were like, "Who's this Josephus guy?" I thought, I should switch it back. So that's the brief history of that.
So the first Faction Masters, that was won by Vexer, correct?
Spoiler alert, yes, it was won by Vexer.
Well, I mean, that one's been done for a while.
Oh, it has been done for a while. Playing as the Forged, of all things. Even the times when I would do a commentary with Vexer on some game that he wasn't even in, I would just drink that up. It's like, wow, this guy knows so much about Summoner Wars, so much insight. It was just great to be along for the ride and watch him do it. I was amazed at just the high level of play in season 4. I have to pull up the bracket for that one again.
Nestle was the runner-up, right? He did very well.
Oh yeah,
with Orcs too,
and he's Thunder Orcs again this season.
No Vexer, correct?
No, he's not. He's not in it this time around.
So who do we think's going to come away with the championship?
Ooh, well, I mean, Nestle's Tundra Orcs are fantastic.
That's fair. Massimo's got the Shadow Elves. That's going to be a tough one.
Yep.
The one interesting thing is that the Groks got nerfed in the middle of this season, so that'll affect
True, I didn't
them.
even check who was playing the Groks.
It's Phil Fort 13 again.
Yeah, yep.
Pelican.
Yep. Definitely a top Grok player, so that'll be a solid one, but that might change things a little bit. I see that DQI wanted the extra life since they're taking in the Shimmer Sea Fae. I get it.
Yeah. I do believe that Shimmer Sea Fae are the worst faction in Summoner Wars.
It's tough.
Which makes it all the more embarrassing when I lose.
Yeah. It's tough. I lost to them last league season.
Maybe what I should say is they're my worst faction in Summoner Wars. Some people can beat me with them quite soundly. I just feel like I usually just try to, if I just dive in deep, I get surrounded and killed when my wait-ins run out. And if I just kind of hang back, then the summoner isn't helping, and it's hard to find that balance.
I'm going to give you guys a dark horse to win this year in the Faction Masters.
Okay.
Snaug with the Vargrath.
Is Snaug a dark horse, though?
I mean, I feel like Snaug gets forgotten too much. Like, Snaug's a legend in his own right, but I feel like people forget that like Snaug's a top player sometimes because he doesn't ever talk and like.
Yeah, he's a 4 seed.
I can't see the seeds on.
Yeah, that's right. That website doesn't show him.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have said it was Dark Horse, but I see he has a buy, but I just.
The Mountain Vargath are usually considered to be kind of a mid-tier faction, so that's why you might say that.
Snaug's real good with them. He played them on our team in one of the Shibata Bing Shibata Boom tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
He's solid.
Well, I think if I had to make a prediction, I would just go with Nestle's Tundra Orcs. He played him so well last season.
Tundra Orcs is impressive to go all the way in Faction Masters with.
He actually told me when I told him that he had qualified, he said, Can't wait. Only cared about staying first with TO for this tournament.
Nice.
Man, that's some dedication. That's kind of what I was hoping to go for, anyways. I was hoping people would have a favorite faction that they just really wanted to represent. I think it makes the end of hopefully it's going to make the end of the season a bit more exciting for people to say, oh man, I really want to qualify for the tournament with this faction.
I think it's
get
cool.
in my games and climb through the ranks.
Definitely something to shoot for. I think it gives players something to shoot for beyond, like, the badges are only so much, and hopefully Plaid Hat will add more badges at some point, but I think it gives them another goal in mind for the rankings.
Yeah.
Nestle also represented the Tundra Orcs in the Tournament of Champions, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh, really? That's good.
Just a dominant Tundra Orc player.
And he played them in the live league this last season too, and it depends on how the Massimo game shakes out, but he did beat Massimo's Polar Dwarves with them. And he barely lost. Well, he lost on like a very lucky game I had with the Wayfarers. So he and I are 3-1 right now in the live league, and Massimo's 2-1, and it depends on how Beans easily does against him soon. So then go to the tiebreakers and figure out if Massimo wins, it'll be 3-1s, and we'll have to figure it out. So yeah, Nestle's up there doing very well with Tundra Orcs in the short games and the long games.
Well, with your YouTube channel, do you think there's any other content you'll expand to? Do you think you'll do like some more general Summoner Wars content, or are you just focused on like Faction Masters?
For now, I'm just focused on Faction Masters. I have lots of ideas of gaming related content that I would like to do, but I just don't have anywhere near enough free time to actually do it. Video editing takes a lot of time, although I knew that going in. So there are other board games that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. For now, we'll just stick to Summoner Wars, and we'll see if I have time for anything else. Probably not.
Well, we're glad you've taken the time to do this and add this to the community. I think it's a great resource and some cool content.
Thanks. I've really enjoyed it too.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the podcast and chatting with us about it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
We'll link your YouTube in the show notes, and if people want to find you on Discord, or if they want you to find them, they just got to be top with one of the factions.
Absolutely. So. That's how to do it. Season 6 is underway, and every season there's 2 more factions, so you got more chances to qualify.
True. Eventually, it'll be 66 maybe.
That's a huge Faction Masters.
Insanity.
Yeah, well, when we get up to 64, it can be my own personal March Madness.
Yep.
Even 32 will be a nice milestone because there'll be no first round buys. Everyone's gonna have to earn it for the second round.
That's true. Well, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks, and this has been another episode of Discard for Magic.